Shocking truth, what the 10 Commandments really reveal about us, unveiled at midnight. The clock struck 12, and a stillness wrapped around the town like a thick, grim fog. It was a night of revelations, and the air crackled with secrets just beneath the surface. Every shadow seemed to whisper tales of the unexpected, and every corner held something waiting to be uncovered. What if everything you thought you knew about the 10 Commandments was not just wrong, but completely shocking? The glow from the old street lamp flickered, revealing a gathering of anxious faces, each etched with confusion and excitement. People drifted closer, drawn by an unexplainable pull, as if some unseen force was urging them to listen. Rachel's heart pounded as she peered through the window of the dusty chapel. Inside, a mysterious figure stood at the front, cloaked in an eerie shadow. This wasn't any ordinary lecture, it was a secret society gathering. Her friends dared each other to take a step closer, to hear what was being said, but the air was heavy with tension. Everyone's breath hung in the air, an unspoken agreement that they were on the brink of something monumental. They all felt it, a decision in the air that had consequences they couldn't yet comprehend. As the seconds passed, murmurs of anticipation floated among the crowd. "Did you hear about the ancient scrolls?" Someone asked, eyes wide with fear and excitement. "They say it reveals a hidden truth about humanity, something we've overlooked for centuries." The thrill of the unknown washed over Rachel, almost intoxicating. Every part of her wanted to run inside, to find out what these scrolls said, that there was a connection between the commandments and the darkest parts of human nature. Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Rachel noticed a shift in the atmosphere. Someone outside shouted, "What's going on in there?" A ripple of fear swept through the crowd. Were they about to witness a revelation that would change their lives? Was this a mere coincidence, or was fate orchestrating this moment, leading them to confront long-held beliefs? As the shadowy figure gestured with wild enthusiasm, Rachel caught a glimpse of parchment in his hand. The secrets it held could shatter everything they thought they knew. With her heart racing and her gut aching with curiosity, she asked herself, was she ready to face the shocking truth hidden in those 10 simple words? The door to the chapel creaked ominously as it swung open, allowing a sliver of flickering candlelight to spill into the night, illuminating the anxious faces of the crowd. Rachel caught her breath, stunned as she found herself half tempted to step inside. The shadowy figure finally turned to face the mass of onlookers, his face momentarily revealed in the dim light. It was a man she didn't recognize, but something in his fiery gaze intrigued her. "Tonight," he boomed, his voice echoing, "we delve into truths that have remained buried within these walls. The ancients spoke through scrolls, inscribed with knowledge that can save us or doom us, it's all up to how we interpret it." The weight of his words sank into Rachel like a stone. Her friends whispered nervously, but she was rooted to the spot, excitement twirling with fear. She perceived the urgency in the man's tone, as if he was both an oracle and a harbinger of doom. What could he possibly mean by saving or dooming? As the man continued, Rachel felt a magnetic force pull her closer, even as dread crawled up her spine. The first commandment is not just a rule. It reflects our very essence, our connection to the universe. But fail to grasp its importance, and you unravel the fabric of your soul. His words crackled the air, igniting murmurs of trepidation. People exchanged glances that spoke volumes. Was it really possible that centuries-old teachings could hold the key to modern chaos? Rachel's stomach knotted. How had something so revered become mere tales of old? Suddenly, a muffled cry echoed from somewhere in the crowd. "This is madness!" A man yelled, disbelief twisting his features. "How can we trust this? We've lived our lives by these commandments. What right does he have? Ah, the cloaked figure replied, his amusement barely contained. Yet are they not the very things that have driven you to misconduct? Have we not seen the worst humanity can offer is love for neighbor just a name or a duty? A thick tension enveloped the crowd. Rachel could practically taste the fear and doubt. She choked on her thoughts. What if everything they held to be true was just an illusion? Was she prepared to dismantle the beliefs that had shaped her life? Before Rachel could process her thoughts, the figure raised the ancient scroll high, unraveling it with a dramatic flourish. The parchment was covered in faded, cryptic symbols that momentarily danced before her eyes, symbols that looked hauntingly familiar. With fierce conviction, he proclaimed, "Tonight we will uncover what these commandments really mean. Prepare for a truth that goes deeper than you can imagine." As he spoke, Rachel's mind raced. Was she ready to dive into these revelations? Every color seemed brighter, every breath sharper. A sense of foreboding hung heavily in the air. "Rachel!" A friend hissed from behind her, jolting her from her thoughts. "What are we doing? This could be dangerous." But deep down, Rachel recognized it, the instinct gnawing at her. She had to know the truth, but at what cost? The crowd shifted uneasily, disbelief bubbling beneath the surface. "What have they done to the commandments?" someone gasped. As questions buzzed, shadows deepened, and the air hummed with a sinister energy. Rachel felt her pulse in her throat, alive with adrenaline and fear. And then, just as suddenly, the lights inside flickered again, dimming to almost nothing. Panic erupted, faces illuminated by the glow of the candles, fear-laden cries mixed with uncertainty. What is happening? She felt the walls closing in as darkness enveloped the chapel. What awaited them within that shadowy room? When the lights flickered back, who or what would emerge to outline this shocking truth? Rachel struggled to find her footing in the sweeping tide of fear that engulfed the crowd. Her heart thudded in her chest like a pounding drum, urging her to retreat. The flickering lights failed, leaving everyone in a terrible twilight. Panic erupted, people backed into one another, shouts and gasps creating a cacophony of chaos. "Stay close." She heard her friend Sam's voice, but it was drowned out by the crowd's frantic outcry. Just when Rachel thought the dark would swallow her whole, the flicker returned, illuminating the cloaked figure. He stood in stark contrast to the chaos, a beacon amid the storm. The glow cast eerie shadows against the chapel's stone walls, creating grotesque shapes that seemed almost alive. Eyes wide, Rachel squinted, trying to see more clearly. She could feel the pulse of the crowd, vibrating with tension. The man, seemingly unfazed, glanced over the scroll in his hands, his expression a mixture of authority and intense fervor. "Our forebears tread these very paths," he announced, his voice booming again, though calm. "They didn't fear the unknown. They faced it, unearthing secrets that this world has repressed. Those scrolls were locked away not just in stone, but in your minds." A chill skittered down Rachel's spine. What secrets? What had her ancestors discovered? The words "locked away in your minds" echoed ominously in her thoughts like a haunting refrain. "Bring forth the chosen," the man commanded, startling everyone. A hush fell, thick as fog. He turned, scanning the crowd, before pointing directly at Rachel. "You. Yes, you. Step forward." Time suspended. Rachel froze, breath caught in her throat, unwilling to believe his finger could really be aimed at her. Fear and disbelief battled within her, but finally, she felt a strange compulsion push her feet forward, and she stepped into the dim light. "What do you want?" Rachel managed to stammer, feeling the eyes of the crowd boring into her. The figure studied her closely, as if searching for something deep within her, then nodded slowly. "You are drawn to the truth, you feel the weight of the past pressing down on your heart. The first commandment resonates with you." "I don't. What do you mean?" Her voice quivered, uncertainty creeping into her words. "Let go of your fears," he rasped, the flickering light catching the glint in his eyes. "The truths I speak will not just expose your ancestors' sins, but your own, too. Are you brave enough to face them? The chapel thrummed with tension. Anxiety clenched in Rachel's stomach as the shadows seemed to grow denser around her. What sins? What truths? Before she could respond, the room plunged into darkness once more, and the whispers intensified, merging into a frightful symphony of dread. Rachel's heart raced. Then a blaring sound pierced the quiet. A heavy clang echoed throughout the chamber, light flickered back to life, but this time the man was gone, as if swallowed by the dark. In his place stood the scroll, now unrolled on the altar, its symbols glowing faintly. With a primal instinct, Rachel moved closer, the scroll's glow illuminating secrets daring her to understand. Each symbol ignited a memory, images flashing through her mind as familial bonds, choices made, moments lost and connections unmade. Rachel. Sam's voice broke her trance. Get away from that thing. But Rachel was rooted in place, the gravitational pull of the scroll too strong. There was something about it that invited her, old and yet intimately familiar, as if they were connected. What had she unleashed by stepping forward? The crowd hummed with a restless energy, fear morphing into something far deeper. Suddenly, an icy wind mixed with an unsettling silence, as if the chapel itself held its breath. Then a low growl resonated from the shadows. Rachel snapped her head toward the sound, realizing with terror that she wasn't the only one drawn to the unveiling. Something darker lurked just beyond the light. What other secrets awaited them, hidden in the depths of the scroll? And could anyone truly handle the weight of the truths? Lying in wait. Rachel's breath hitched as the growl rumbled through the air. It was low, primal, a reminder that something ancient and powerful stirred just outside the flickering radius of light. Her heart raced, pounding in her ears like an alarm. The scroll's luminous symbols pulsed, illuminating her face with a ghostly glow that danced like flames in her wide eyes. Rachel. Come on. Sam shouted, his voice rising above the din. She felt his tension ricochet through the crowd, but all she could do was stare at the scroll, mesmerized. The shadows shifted, creeping closer, and Rachel's instincts screamed at her to run. But the scroll felt alive, whispering secrets it dared her to uncover. A tremor coursed through her entire body. She had to know. As if summoned by her thought, the growl escalated into a snarl. A figure emerged from the dark, its eyes glinted with a feral hunger. The onlookers shrieked and stumbled back, creating a panic that crashed around her like waves against rocks. Help! Someone yelled, their voice cracking. Rachel spun to find the source of the sound, but her movement only increased the chaos. She gripped the altar, forcing her gaze away from the lurking creature to focus on what lay before her. The scroll continued to glow, its symbols twisted into frantic motions, igniting memories she had long buried. Flickering images of betrayal, loss, and guilt flickered in her mind's eye. She could see faces, friends, family, all caught in horrifying choices. The weight of those moments pressed down like a crushing stone. Rachel. Sam's voice was closer now, cutting through the noise. Get out. But even as he implored her, another chilling howl lanced through the air, a violent reminder of the presence lurking beyond the light. What are you? Rachel whispered, her voice barely holding together. Was it a demon? A spectral soul? An embodiment of her fears? The growl deepened, echoing like thunder in the chapel's rafters. Face your fears, Rachel. The cloaked man's voice rang, an unexpected echo in the chaos, flickering as though he were still present. The first commandment is more than just words. It demands confrontation. The thought sunk into her as sharply as the icy wind tailing the beast. The truth behind the commandment was unraveling in front of her very eyes, but what would it reveal? She was caught in the crossfire of her truth and the darkness lurking just at the fringes. Run! Sam screamed again, voice laced with desperation. The crowd had transformed into a wave, swirling frantically as people pushed to escape the dreadful scene. The scent of fear was palpable in the air, a choking reminder that danger was real, closing in fast, but before Rachel could take a step back, the altar shook violently, the scroll vibrating as if trembling under the weight of ancient knowledge. The symbols brightened just as the beast surged from the shadows. Rachel's breath caught in her throat. It lunged at the scroll, eyes blazing with an insatiable hunger. In that moment, a loud crack split the air, the sound of wood splintering. The scroll erupted in a burst of light, enveloping her in a golden glow, drowning out the noise. For an instant, fear and panic were replaced by a calming presence, drowning away the darkness. Images forced their way into her mind: angst, shadows, and an ancient truth that was undeniably familiar. Were these her ancestors, or something more? As the beast recoiled, a piercing howl echoed, mingling with the glowing reverberations of the scroll. The world around her twisted with blinding light, overwhelming her senses. And then silence. The chapel stood still, shrouded in tension, with everyone frozen in place. Rachel's breath came in shallow bursts, the heaviness of dread wrapped around her heart like a vice. Had she just opened a door she couldn't close? What truths had she awakened? With her heart racing again, Rachel realized she stood at the precipice of something huge, a choice that would either bind her to the dark or set her on a path of unimaginable discovery. What had been set in motion? And could she truly brace herself for the dark secrets that lay waiting just beyond? Light seeped through the veil of silence, creeping into the chapel, caressing Rachel's skin with warmth. But that warmth felt wrong. She opened her eyes to find herself alone at the altar, the scroll glowing faintly, pulsating like a wounded heart. The creature was gone, vanished as mysteriously as it had appeared, leaving only the echoes of terror behind. Rachel. Sam's voice sliced through the stillness, rushes of relief accompanying the urgent footsteps. He appeared, breathless and frantic, eyes darting around as if half expecting the beast to emerge from the shadows once more. "Thank God you're okay. Are you hurt?" She searched his face, wide-eyed and frantic, but seeing only relief mixed with fear. "No," he replied, shaking his head. "But everyone else, they scattered." "What happened?" His gaze shifted to the altar, to the still glowing scroll. "What did I do?" Rachel breathed out, heart pounding anew as the weight of her realization pressed down. The scroll had awakened something within her, a truth she had never known, but was now screaming to be acknowledged. "Let us get out of here." Sam urged, his grip tightening around her arm. It felt reassuring, grounding. They could escape this place, or could they? No. She jerked back, her head darting toward the scroll. "I have to understand what just happened." That thing, it wanted the scroll. It was drawn to it. "And you think staying here is a good idea? What if it comes back?" Sam's jaw tightened. "It's more than that. Sam, the scroll, it showed me things." Visions of faces from her past flooded back, each one tinged with regret and sorrow, stitched into the tapestry of her heart. The shadows seemed to thicken around the chapel's corners, creeping closer. Rachel felt the cool tendrils of fear wrap around her once more. I can't leave them behind, Rachel, please." He pleaded. "We can't save everyone. There's nothing we can do here that would change what just happened." His words sparked a deep conflict within her. True, fear was gnawing at her, weaving a web of doubt, but the undeniable pull of the glowing symbols ignited a fire within. She couldn't just walk away now. Something was beginning to stir in her blood, echoing the commandment that had been thrust upon her like a challenge. Determined, Rachel took a deep breath, feeling the heat of the scroll warming her with purpose. "I need to know what it wants. More than that, I have to confront my fears." "Your fears?" "Rachel, this isn't just a test. This is dangerous." Sam's eyes widened with panic. "This could end badly." "Maybe," she whispered, her voice trembling but resolute. "But I have to try." The scroll pulsed harder, its light flickering like a heartbeat, urging her onward. The air shifted again, sending a shiver rattling down her spine. Without warning, new symbols appeared, flashing before her, words and images that whispered of horrors and clarities. It was as though the scroll had a life of its own, demanding her attention, ready to show her more. Each beat of her heart hammered in sync with the scroll's glow as she took a step closer. Suddenly, the air thickened, and the shadows writhed. The chapel echoed with a low growl, a familiar sound that pierced through the depths of her resolve. "Rachel!" Sam shouted, stepping in front of her protectively. "Get back!" But she stood firm, her feet planted. The scroll's urgency pulsated through her, resonating with her spirit. A door had been opened, and there was no shutting it now. Then, from the shadows, a more defined shape began to materialize, glowing with otherworldly energy. The beast, reborn and more ferocious than ever, eyes locked on her. What did it want? Was it a guardian of the truth? Or a monster of her own creation? As her mind raced with questions, a chilling insight dawned: this was only the beginning. Rachel had awakened something monumental within herself, but at what cost? The air crackled with tension, and as the beast lunged, she felt the gravity of her choice. In that moment of absolute dread, Rachel realized she had only one way forward: face her darkest fears and confront the truth buried within. A new dimension of the scroll's power was demanding to be unveiled. And as the creature roared, darkness radiating endlessly, she could only wonder, what other worlds would open before her? The beast's roar echoed through the chapel, reverberating off the ancient stone walls like thunder. Rachel's heart raced, pounding in her ears as if it were demanding to be heard above the chaos. Sam rushed to her side, his body tense, prepared for anything. The air felt electric, crackling with fear and uncertainty. "Rachel, please!" Sam shouted again, desperation creeping into his voice. "We need to get out of here now." But instead of running, Rachel stepped forward, drawn toward the glowing scroll. The symbols danced before her eyes, pulsating in rhythm with the growing despair of the creature. It wasn't just a monster. It was a manifestation of something buried deep within her: a fear, a longing, perhaps even a truth she had yet to comprehend. As if sensing her resolve, the beast hesitated, its glowing eyes narrowing into slits. Rachel felt something shift in the air, a heartbeat shared, as if she and the creature were linked by an unbreakable thread. "Get down!" Sam shouted, throwing himself in front of her, but instead of protecting her, he became a part of the confusion. "Sam, stop!" With newfound clarity, her voice rang out, stronger than before. "I think it recognizes me." "Recognizes you?" His expression was one of disbelief and horror. "Are you insane? It just attacked us." But she stepped around him, her fingers brushing the scroll's surface. It throbbed beneath her touch, sending warmth blooming through her veins. The symbols twisted and morphed, forming patterns that whispered stories of sacrifice and trials. Each word ignited her mind, a confrontation of her deepest fears and desires. The beast stirred again, a low growl rolling from its throat like distant thunder. It wasn't just rage, there was a sense of urgency in its presence, a call woven into its very essence. Rachel's breath caught in her throat. Was it warning her? Feeling almost hypnotized, she spoke, her voice softer, more measured. "What do you want from me?" In answer, the creature lunged again, but this time, it stopped short, inches from her. Its breath washed over her, hot and wild. Rachel stood firm, unwilling to flinch. She could feel the heat radiating from it, merging with the warmth of the scroll. For a brief moment, the world quieted, heavy with anticipation. Rachel's eyes locked with the beast's, and she saw something deep within, the glimmer of a soul, a reflection of her own struggles, her own monsters. Suddenly, flashes of memories erupted from the scroll, echoes of her past cascading in vivid colors. Her mother's gentle yet pained eyes, the sorrow of lost friendships, the weight of choices that had haunted her like ghosts. With each image, her resolve deepened. "Show me," she whispered, barely a sound. "Show me what I need to see." The scroll unveiled a torrent of images, each one merging with the beast's growls, building an intense symphony of fear and clarity. The room around her began to darken, every shadow swallowing light as the creature hovered closer, its energy swirling and changing. You're not just a monster to defeat, she breathed, realization dawning. You're part of me. Before she could absorb that thought, a piercing shriek pierced through the heavy silence, a cry that shattered the atmosphere like glass. Sam staggered back, hands over his ears, his face pale with horror. The church trembled, ancient stones shifting, dust falling in a cloud around them. What are you doing? He shouted, fists clenched at his sides, but she couldn't turn away. Not now. Not when the scroll and the beast were calling her to understand that the darkness lurking was not just a threat but a part of her story. The ground beneath her feet began to vibrate, the symbols igniting above the scroll, swirling like a cyclone. The creature bared its teeth, revealing rows of glistening fangs. One last ounce of courage surged within her as she yelled into the void, "I embrace you." And as the words left her lips, a wave of power exploded from the scroll. With it came a collision of sound and light, a maelstrom of energy shattering the confines of the chapel. In that moment of unity between her fears and her courage, Rachel understood the truth: the boundaries of her reality were about to unravel. As the energy enveloped her, she felt herself spinning into darkness. Would she find the wisdom in her past, or was she destined to confront nightmares that lay beyond the shadows? The beast roared once more, and as everything faded, the question lingered: would she emerge unscathed, or would she be lost in the very darkness she sought to understand? Rachel's world spun as if caught in a cosmic blender, colors and shapes colliding with blinding intensity. The roar of the beast faded into a haunting echo, replaced by a suffocating silence that draped over her like a heavy fog. As the darkness enveloped her, she felt an unsettling mixture of fear and exhilarating freedom. A sudden rush of clarity pierced through the chaos, flooding her with memories. But they weren't just hers, they belonged to the beast too. Images flashed, vivid scenes of battles fought long ago, sacrifices made in the name of loyalty, and a heart-wrenching loneliness that echoed through ages. The weight of anguish spread through her chest, tightening until she gasped for breath, desperately trying to understand the connection that tethered her to this terrifying entity. Rachel. Sam's voice broke through the shroud, pulling her back. She could almost see him, pale and trembling, though distorted like a mirage in the void. Stay with me. But the beast's power was intoxicating. Rachel understood now. The creature was not merely a foe, it was a guardian of truths long buried, and the only way through this darkness was to confront what lay hidden within. Tell me, she called out, her voice rising defiantly above her fears. Show me why you haunt me. An image exploded in front of her, a young girl standing alone in a field, a tattered toy clutched in her hands. Rachel recognized herself as a child, lost in a world that felt too big and unforgiving. The haunting emptiness in her eyes mirrored the beast's rage, unveiling a shared history of pain. The ground beneath her trembled once more, but this time, it was not just fear. Rachel could feel the landscape shifting, a new dimension building around her, fueled by her desire for understanding. Embrace your past, Rachel, the whisper came like a gentle breeze, palpable yet ethereal. You are stronger than your fears. A rush of warmth flooded through her, igniting memories not steeped in despair but rather resilience. Moments of triumph, laughter shared with friends, and the joy of love woven through the tapestry of her life. Each ember of strength dispelled the shadows surrounding her, illuminating the path ahead. Sam, help me. Rachel shouted, her voice suddenly full of purpose. She felt alive, as if she were drawing energy from the very essence of the beast. The symbols from the scroll glowed brighter, casting colors that danced like fireflies in the darkness. Rachel. Sam called out again, desperation morphing into determination. What do you need me to do? Believe in me. We need to face this together. With the newfound courage pulsing in her veins, she reached for the tendrils of darkness, willing them to respond. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if sensing their own fear of her growing power, but just as she felt the momentum shift, a deafening shriek shattered the moment, a cry of agony that curled around her like icy fingers. The beast hurled forward, its fangs bared as it lunged into the swirling mass of light and energy. Fear gripped Rachel's heart once more, choking her resolve. "Don't look away," she urged, locking eyes with the beast, letting the warmth within her grow. "We are the same." The chapel began to tremble violently, stone crumbling under the strain. Dust swirled like a storm, wrapping around Sam, obscuring his frightened expression. Rachel felt the energy pulsating between her and the beast surging higher, white-hot with potential, threatening to explode. "We can overcome this," she shouted into the chaos. "Together." With a final push of courage, she let out a primal scream, a sound of defiance that resonated through the chapel. The symbols fused into a dazzling array of light, swallowing them both, and just as the room burst into a blinding brilliance, she wasn't sure if she was truly joining with the beast or if it was consuming her entirely. What was to come? Would she return to reality armed with new truths, or would the darkness seal her fate forever? As she spiraled further, one burning question loomed over her mind: could she truly learn to embrace not just her past but the beast within? The light swirled around her, expanding and contracting, illuminating the hidden shadows that danced at the edges of her consciousness. Rachel felt weightless, suspended in a moment where time twisted and stretched into an eternal now. Just when she thought she couldn't hold on any longer, the light surged, overwhelming her with a warmth that was both terrifying and intoxicating. Then, a shocking jolt. Darkness crashed back, slamming into her like a tidal wave. Gasping for breath, she found herself sprawled on the cold stone floor of the chapel, the air thick with dust and the scent of ancient wood. The beast prowled nearby, its eyes now pools of molten gold, blazing with an intensity that forced her heart into a furious rhythm. "Rachel." Sam's voice sliced through the haze. He was crouched beside her, his expression a chaotic mix of relief and fear. "You vanished. For a second, I thought. I don't know what just happened," she stammered, her hands trembling as she pushed herself upright. The world felt sharper, more vivid, yet also shadowed by an unspeakable weight. "But I think I felt it. The beast, it's connected to me. To my past." The beast growled low and deep, but there was an unsettling softness behind its fury, as if understanding flickered within its monstrous form. "Rachel, we need to get out of here," Sam urged, glancing nervously at the grand windows that trembled under the strain of the night. "This place, it's coming apart." "No." She shook her head, determination cementing her resolve. "I can't run. Not now. I need to know why it chose me." Before Sam could protest, she took a step forward, heart hammering in her chest. The chapel's light shifted, growing dim as shadows closed in. And then, with a surge of strength, she faced the beast. "I know you're hurting," she said, her voice steady. "Show me what you have to hide." To her shock, the beast stopped, its posture faltering. She watched as the tension in its muscles ebbed, and for a fleeting moment, a sense of vulnerability flickered in its eyes. It was both terrifying and beautiful, like a storm cloud at sunset. The shadows flickered, twisting around her like a protective veil. From the depths of her mind, memories surged, recollections spilling forth like water from a shattered dam. Scenes of laughter, heartbreak, and betrayal unfolded. They all led back to a small town where she had once felt invincible, but at the heart of those memories lay something darker, a deep-seated betrayal. Rachel staggered back. "My father, he wasn't just protecting me from the darkness. He was burying the truth." Suddenly, a surge of energy pulsed through the room, and the beast stepped closer, almost appearing to offer solace. The whispers returned, a gentle cacophony in her head, urging her to embrace the tumult of her past. "You are not just an echo of pain, Rachel," the voice cooed, layered and complex like an ancient song. "You are the vessel of change. Accept the beast within you." With a deep breath, Rachel steadied herself. "You mean to tell me, that the beast is not just my fear but my strength?" A roar erupted, echoing through the chapel, a mix of fury and liberation. Dust cascaded from the ceiling as an even greater wave of light enveloped them both, swirling around her, promising revelation. Above the tumult, fleeting images flickered, a confrontation, a secret whispered in shame, a pact made in darkness. And then, from the depths of that blinding light, a shadowy figure emerged, a man with familiar features, haunted eyes, and a resolute stance. Rachel gasped, recoiling as recognition struck her like lightning. Dad? Dread seeped into her bones as she realized the truth might be more terrifying than she could have ever imagined. What had he truly done to protect her, and at what cost? As the figure reached out to her amidst the chaos, she felt the tendrils of time twist again around her, pulling her backward into memories that could rewrite everything she knew. What revelations lay ahead? And who would emerge, Rachel or the beast? The question hung heavy in the air. As the ground trembled once more, and she braced for whatever truth awaited her beyond the light. The apparition before Rachel loomed larger, the man's silhouette blurring in the pulsating light. Memories battled for dominance in her mind, a cacophony of faces and emotions swirling around her. Dad, but how? You left. Her heart raced, each thump a reminder of lost time and buried pain. Every second felt like it stretched into eternity, reverberating with unspoken words. The chapel echoed the struggle of her soul as the shadowy figure stepped closer, his eyes once familiar, now foreign, bore into her. Rachel, he finally spoke, his voice a blend of warmth and urgency. You have to understand. This place, it's not just a building. It's a prison. For you and for it, the beast. Sam's voice cut in sharply, grounding her in the present. It's a prison. We need to get out of here. No. Rachel shouted, fear rising in her throat. I can't leave. Not yet. Your mother, she was the key, her father pressed on, his demeanor shifting from parental to prophet-like in an instant. She couldn't stop what was coming, so I locked it away. In you. The weight of his words crashed down like a tidal wave. Behind her, Sam's breath hitched, shock evident on his face. Locked it away. The beast, sensing the encroaching chaos, roared violently, shaking the chapel's stones. But there was something vulnerable about it now, as if it too was trapped between worlds, one of terror and one of understanding. Rachel gazed into her father's tormented eyes, trying to piece together the fragments of her past. But what if I embrace it? If I let it out? The air thickened, a pause hovering like the calm before the storm. You don't understand, Rachel, he replied, urgency surging in his voice. If the beast is released without control, it won't just consume you. It will consume everything, all the memories it's fed on, our family, our friends. The shadows around the chapel began to pulse, almost as if alive, and a chilling breeze whispered through the granite walls. Flickering candles dimmed, and the world outside the stained glass windows darkened ominously. Rachel felt the bond tighten between her and the beast, threads of pain and hope weaving together. I won't be a prisoner anymore, she declared, a fierce determination rising in her chest. As the words left her lips, a tremor rippled through the room. The beast howled, a sound so primal it reverberated in her bones. In that moment, Rachel realized that she was standing on the precipice of something monumental. Her father reached out a hand, as if trying to bridge the gap of years and secrets. Rachel, listen to me. To harness this power, you must first confront the truth about your mother. The darkness isn't just in you, it's rooted in our bloodline. The dread and intensity of his admission echoed through her. Rachel realized this beast wasn't simply her burden, it was entwined with her family's legacy, a legacy built on sacrifice and unspoken horrors. And the more she understood, the closer she drew towards the beast's truth. Outside, thunder cracked, shaking the chapel to its core. The shadows swirled into a tempest, threatening to consume everything. Rachel! Sam shouted, panic slicing through the tension. It's collapsing. Do you trust me? She asked abruptly, her eyes blazing with newfound clarity. Sam hesitated, but desperation flickered behind his eyes. I do. Then stand by me. She held out her hands to them both, her father and Sam, caught in a web of fate. With her heart pounding, she embraced the dark folded within her, ready to unveil the truth. What emerged then would change everything about who she was. As a violent surge of energy coursed through the chapel, blurring the lines between past and present, Rachel knew this confrontation would either liberate her or shackle her to her lineage forever. And as an echoing roar filled the air, a chilling whisper danced at the edge of her consciousness, taunting her, "You think you know your path?" Think again. In that moment of paradox, Rachel braced herself, teetering on the brink of an abyss. Would she find salvation, or would she become the very beast she feared? The chaos around Rachel reached a fever pitch. The air shimmered with electrical energy, and she felt like a lightning rod amidst the storm. The shadows swirled menacingly, as if alerted to her decision, a dark dance of uncertainty that threatened to engulf her. "I won't hide any longer," Rachel declared, her voice steady and clear, slicing through the thunderous roars of the beast. The energy in her surged, a visceral meld of fear and fierce determination. "Rachel, stop!" Sam shouted, his panic palpable in the escalating turmoil. But she turned toward the looming beast, the weight of her bloodline pressing heavily on her shoulders. The flickering light from the scroll illuminated the chapel, casting ghostly images of her memories, blending into the menacing figures. "I'm ready," she shouted at the beast. "I know I'm connected to you. Show me what we can become together." It hesitated, the pulsing tension hanging thick in the air. The creature's eyes softened slightly, revealing a glimmer of understanding. They were tied by more than shadows. They were bound by scars, pain, and a shared history that demanded confrontation. With a fierce burst of courage, Rachel stepped closer. "You're not just a monster, you're a part of me, and I'm a part of you." As those words echoed through the chapel, the ground shook violently. The wild storm outside mirrored the tempest within it. Her father's figure flickered in the shifting light, desperation lacing his features. "Don't do this, Rachel. You are tampering with forces beyond measure." But she only nodded. The memory of her mother washed over her like a wave. "I need to embrace my truth, even if it's dark," she said, heart pounding in rhythm with the chaos. "And perhaps, together, the darkness can be transformed." As she met the beast's burning gaze, a moment of clarity enveloped her. The weight of the past and the uncertainty of the future coalesced in that instant. "Let us turn our pain into power," she whispered, her heart blooming with resolve. A fissure ran through the floor, ancient stone splintering beneath her feet. The beast roared, its cry vibrating through the very walls of the chapel, calling to the shadows around them. It was no longer a mere animal, it was a conduit of their intertwined destinies. Rachel took a deep breath and raised her arms, the symbols from the scroll urging her forward. Light burst forth from her fingertips, illuminating the entire chapel. The glow pushed back the shadows, creating a sanctuary within the chaos. "Together," she proclaimed, inviting the beast to join her. In a shimmering flash, the energy surged as the beast lunged toward her. The moment they connected felt like meeting an old friend, like returning home. The energy swirled violently, but rather than consuming her, it enveloped her, filling her with warmth. The fear melted away, replaced by a fierce sense of belonging and understanding. "Rachel." Sam's voice broke through the blinding light, sounding both distant and nearby. "I'm here, Sam," she called back, still anchored in the radiant energy merging with the beast. As everything transformed around her, she recognized faces emerging from the darkness: her family, long-lost connections, and even fractured relationships. Each figure held their histories, their pain and love stitched into her soul. Rachel could feel their collective unspoken truths urging her to accept them all, to find solace in unity. "I am not alone," she shouted, the affirmation reverberating in the air. "We are stronger together." The combined energies grew, blossoming into magnificent waves of color. The beast howled, not out of rage, but a triumphant roar, echoing through time and space. The chapel quaked, and as the dark shadows began to dissolve, Rachel felt light enter every crevice of her being. With one final surge, the chapel exploded in radiant brilliance, the walls dissolving into pure light, leaving only the warmth of dawn spilling in. The beast transformed alongside her, weaving into her spirit, a tapestry of shared strength and understanding. As the chaos quieted into serene light, Rachel found herself standing in a field she knew all too well, the one from her childhood memories. The air was fresh, filled with the fragrance of blooming flowers, and the weight of anguish that once sat heavy on her shoulders was finally lifted. Rachel breathed deeply, the beauty enveloping her like a warm embrace. "Rachel!" A voice called, and she turned to see Sam approaching, his eyes wide but shining with relief. "You did it." Together, they looked out at the sun rising over the horizon, touching the world with hope and clarity. The darkness had not erased her, nor had it overwhelmed her. It had taught her to love fiercely, to confront the complexities of her past. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, squeezing Sam's hand. They stood united, ready to face the world beyond with the strength she had discovered within herself. As they walked together into the light, Rachel glanced back one last time at the chapel now transformed, a sanctuary of peace. "No more secrets," she whispered softly, her eyes glistening with the promise of a new beginning. "Here's to embracing truths, whatever they may be." And as they stepped forward, the past lingered behind but did not bind them. The journey was just beginning. Now, more than ever, it was time to share this journey with those who needed it most. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next chapter of extraordinary stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and let your voice be heard. Flood the comments with your thoughts and theories. I want to hear from every one of you. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Show your support and be part of our incredible community.